I smell you hobbits as you come back to Pocket Ronnie.
Okay, we're going to be doing positive and negative exponents. We're in lesson 1 and we're looking at 1D10, negative 2 cubed. The negative here has nothing to do with a positive or negative in the exponent. A negative in front of the number just says it's a number below 0. So, and remember, when there is no parentheses, the negative stays in front. So basically this is like negative 2 times 2 times 2. Remember, 2 cubed, 2 times 2 times 2. The negative stays in front. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. This is not 2 times 3. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. The negative stays in front. That's negative 8. Alright, let's look at 1D9. So you have negative 1/5 squared, and the parentheses is around the negative 1/5. So this is like negative 1 and 1/5 times negative 1 and 1/5. My recommendation is to turn this 1 and 1/5 into improper fractions. Ignore the negative sign for a moment to turn it into improper fraction. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6, so that would be negative 6 over 5. So that's an improper fraction of that squared. So that's the same as negative 6 over 5 times negative 6 over 5. Negative times a negative is a positive. 6 times 6 is 36. 5 times 5, 25. You can change that back into a mixed number if you want. Always look to see if it will reduce. 36/25 does not reduce. And I'm going to leave it as an improper fraction. Alright, now we're going to look at negative exponents. So 1B1, 4 to the negative third. Remember, a negative up here has nothing to do with the negative in front of the number. A negative in the exponent basically tells you it's going to be a fraction. So the one thing to remember, if you change the sign of the exponent, because on these problems I want you to make it with a positive exponent. If you change the sign of the exponent, you have to change the place of the base. The 4 is the base. So if we want to make that 3 a positive 3, then we have to change the place of the base. This 4, you can make any number of fraction by putting it over 1. You change the place of the 4. It was in the numerator, it now needs to go to the denominator. So if you're going to change the sign of the exponent, so this is now a 1 up here, we've moved the 4 to the denominator, and our exponent is now positive. So 1 over 4 cubed, 4 cubed is 64. 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. So 1 over 4 cubed is the same as 1 over 64. 1B number 4. If you're going to change the sign of the exponent, you change the place of the base. So if we want to make this a positive 1, we have to change the place of the base. The base right now is in the denominator. We want to move it to the numerator in order to make this a positive. So we move the a up, and it becomes a, and then we change the sign of the exponent. A to the first is the same thing as just a. Okay, now we're going to be adding and subtracting exponents. Look at 1B8. You have the same base, x squared times x to the negative 3 times x to the 10th. When you have the same base and you are multiplying, then you add your exponents. I'm going to say that one more time. When you have the same base and you're multiplying, you add your exponents. So now all my bases are the same, so it's just a matter of adding my exponents. 2 plus a negative 3 means I have negative 1 left. Negative 1 plus 10 is a positive 9. So this would be x to the 9th. That's a 9. I'm going to make that a little bit better. 9, x to the 9th. Okay, go down to 1B10. We are still multiplying and we have the same base. So when you have the same base and you're multiplying, you add your exponents. So this becomes 2 to the a plus 3b. You add your exponents. Can I combine a's to b's? No. So I leave it just like that. Okay, now let's go down to 1B16. Now we are dividing the same base. When you have the same base and you are dividing, you subtract your exponents. So this would become 6a plus b minus b. Take this exponent and subtract that exponent. So a plus b minus b. Now you combine like terms. So I have a positive b and a negative b, so those go away. So then all you're left with is 6 to the a. Alright, let's look at 1b18. We have the same base and we are dividing. So we subtract our exponents. Remember, this symbol is still a division symbol. So we subtract our exponents. So this becomes a to the negative 4 minus 5. Okay, don't forget you're subtracting negative 4 minus 5. I'm in debt 4, I'm in debt 5 more. So this becomes a to the negative 9. Watch your signs when you are subtracting and you're dealing with positive and negative numbers. Alright, now we're going to do an exponent raised to an exponent. You have y to the d raised to the g. So when you have an exponent raised to an exponent, you multiply your exponents. Alright? So here we just multiply d times g. So to write that, we say y to the d times g. When you write your letters together, that implies multiplication. So that's it. I can't do anything else with that. That was 1c5. Now look at 1b19. Y squared raised to the negative 10. Okay, when you have an exponent raised to an exponent, you multiply your exponents. A positive times a negative is a negative, and 2 times 10 is 20. So y to the negative 20. You can leave it like that. If they say they want you to put it with a positive exponent, then it's like you put the y over 1, you change the base, change the place of the base. Remember, a negative exponent implies a fraction. That is also the same as y over 1 over y to the 20th. So y to the negative 20th, these two things are equal. Y to the negative 20th is the same thing as 1 over y to the 20th. Now we're going to look at these problems that I like to give the hint of put on one line. Look at 1d8, r to the negative 6 times r times p to the negative 4th all over p to the 9th r to the negative 4th. The first thing I'm going to tell you to do is recommend to put everything on one line. So if you want to move everything in the denominator up to the numerator, you have to change the sign of the exponent. If you change the place of the base, you have to change the sign of the exponent. So basically, I'm going to rewrite my numerator, because it will stay the same, r to the negative 6 times r times p to the negative 4th. If I want to move this up, it's p to the positive 9. If I move it up, it needs to become p to the negative 9. Change the sign of your exponent. If I want to move this up, it becomes r to the positive 4. Now everything is on one line to where everything is multiplied, and now it's just a matter of combining like terms. R's to R's and P's to P's. If you want to move it around to put all your R's together, that's fine. The one thing I want to remind you is this R right here. What is the exponent on this R if it's just R? When there's no number there, that is an implied 1. R to the 1. So if you want to write a 1 to help you, that's fine. So now let's combine all of our R's. So I have negative 6 plus a 1, so I'm at negative 5. Negative 5 plus 4, negative 1. So r to the negative 1. So I took care of my r's if you want to mark them out. Now I'm looking at my p's. Negative 4 and adding negative 9. I'm in debt 4, now I'm in debt 9 more. So that means I am in debt 13. So you can leave your answer like this, r to the negative 1, p to the negative 13. Or if you want to write them with positive exponents, and r to the negative 1, negative 13 implies fraction. Move these down to change the sign of the exponent. That would be like 1 over r to the 1, and you don't even have to write 1, you just write r, p to the 13. Just so you know, this answer is the same as this answer. One's just with negative exponents, one's with positive exponents. Now let's look at 1b23. So same thing, I would recommend move everything up to one line. So we're dealing with the same bases here, 3, 3, 3, 3. So just rewrite your numerator. 3 to the A, 3 to the 2A. Now let's move this up to the numerator. So that'd be 3 to the negative B. You have to change the sign of the exponent. Change the sign of the exponent. 3 to the negative 2B. Now we're adding. You can only add like terms. We have the same base. So this is like saying 3. Since we are multiplying, that's why we're adding the exponents. Okay, everything is multiplied, so we're adding the exponents. We got 3A plus 2A plus a negative B plus a negative 2B. Now it's just a matter of combining like terms. A plus 2A, 3A, a negative B, I'm in debt B, and I am in debt 2 more B. So that would be a negative 3B. So this would be 3 to the 3A minus 3B. I cannot combine A's and B's, so that would be your final answer.